This is All-American Western number 103, the first issue. It switched over from All-American Comics with number 103. Out of the roaring pages of the Old West leaps the most colorful and exciting of all fighters for justice, Johnny Thunder. Johnny Thunder first appeared in All-American number 100, so this is his fourth appearance. There's an ad for Kodak film, and the first story is Johnny Thunder, co-star in Black Lightning. It's called The City Without Guns. It's from November 1948. I love Alex Toth's artwork. The story was written by Bob Kanigher and illustrated by Alex Toth. The story is that the old sheriff is getting too old, and this gang comes into town, and they're giving him a hard time. So Johnny Thunder has to come and save the day. So the townsfolk are like, well, you're getting too old. We need to get a new sheriff. And so, feeling bad, Sheriff, what's his name? Sheriff Kane? I can't remember his name. But he hands in his badge. And he's like, oh, you know, I wish you were my son instead of that pusillanimous school teacher. I'm going to go see him now. And like, Johnny Thunder's like, oh no, I've got to run. So he rides, he calls Black Lightning, who's a white horse, which is kind of strange, but there you go, Black Lightning. And he jumps on the horse. You know, he whistles for it, and the horse comes running. He jumps on the horse, and he passes the sheriff on his way. He gets to the schoolhouse. He goes upstairs. He goes and washes the black out of his hair, and now he's blonde. What's his name? Johnny Kane? I can't remember his name. And he puts on his regular clothes. He resumes his regular way of speaking. Just in time, the sheriff comes riding in. Turns out that the school teacher is really Johnny Thunder in disguise. So the sheriff wants him to quit school. All of a sudden he's there, you know, he's been out running around, and then the kids are sitting there at school waiting for him. So he tells them he can't quit because it's important to teach the kids so that they can get along when they grow up. So the sheriff is mad. He slams out, and Johnny tells the kids about democracy. Then later at the High Kitty Ranch, it's funny because Johnny Thunder doesn't own his horse. Black Lightning is owned by Kathy, who lets him ride it just so she could be around him. And she's like, but then she's like, oh, now we get to see him because he needs his horse. All of a sudden he whistles, and the horse jumps out of the corral and runs to him. She's like, oh no, I don't get to see him. And he's like, oh, well, you know, Kathy's good looking, but we got work to do. So they ride out, and they get bushwhacked. He gets bushwhacked. Oh no, this guy's like the new sheriff, and he says, Johnny Thunder, now I've got new rules in town, and nobody's allowed to have guns. So Johnny's like, well, I obey the law, so here's my guns. If I hope it works out for you. Then the sheriff is like, now every man in Mesa City is unarmed, and the gang that Johnny Thunder broke up early, they can take over the town. So Johnny runs into the sheriff, and he's like, where are you going? Oh, I was heading for the sheriff's office. I forgot I wasn't sheriff anymore. And Leif, that's the guy's name. The new sheriff is named Leif. And they're like, hey, he's got the shades pulled. I never did that. Let's go see. Maybe he's hiding something. So they look in, and they find out that he's a crook. So somebody comes to bushwhack him from behind, but Johnny takes care of him. Look at that Toth panel. Awesome. So they split up to take on the criminals. Just love that artwork. So they've got him tied down, so he whistles for the horse. I guess that horse is bulletproof. I don't know. But bullets don't bother him when he's on Black Lightning. And he jumps off the horse and beats the guy up. Now's our chance to riddle that jink. Oh yeah? Shoot all you want. You're not gonna get Johnny Thunder. Ambushing ain't any too popular hereabouts. We give up, Sheriff. Later, as the Thorny Deaver gang come to jail. Thanks for coming back, coming back to us, Sheriff Tane. You mean you want me back to keeping the peace, Mayor? An old Tane custom. Keeping the peace is an old Tane custom. The end. And Johnny looks on. Then there's a Wheaties ad with Bob Feller. Gotta be careful, I'm gonna wreck this comic. Oh no. Oh, there goes 50 bucks. And there's a Keds ad. And the next story is Overland Coach, Ambush at Eagle Pass, featuring Tony Barrett. And Tony's is hot blonde, but she's coming to town, and the sheriff's like, well, we got to get these outlaws. We need a posse, so maybe the stage driver will join our posse. So they ask the driver if he wants to join, and jumps down. Sure, I'll join your posse. Oh, heck, you're a girl. You can't join our posse. So they leave her, and she's like, everybody's got to do their part. So they go off to Eagle Pass. And they're after the Laredo Kid in the Laredo Hills. So the Laredo Kid's got him tied down. He's up on a ledge shooting at him, and Tony shows up, and he's like, "Oh, we told you can't join our posse." And she's like, "I got as much right as anybody to bring in an outlaw." So he says, "Go ahead, take your best shot." So she goes up, and she recognizes him, and she goes running up to him. It's her brother. Oh no, what's going on? Oh, they framed me. Well, I'm going to take you in and we'll straighten this out. Irwin Hasen, that's a pretty good artist. It's inked by Frank Giacoya. That night at the Laredo jailhouse, oh no, what's going to happen? Oh, they're going to... No, I forget what happens. It's a great story. Oh, he explains he came to Laredo 6 months ago, and that's the month that the bank robber came and started robbing people, leaving a note saying he was the Laredo Kid. Then they framed him and put some money from the bank holdout in his house, and then they started chasing him. And there's an American Flyer ad. Looks like I skipped a page here. And Captain Tootsie ad with Babe Ruth by C.C. Beck. I'm not going to read that, but I'll give you a good look at it. There's the Babe. Points out he's going to... Points for the Tootsie Roll sign. And bam. Yay. Tootsie Rolls. Now back to the story. No use pleading for your brother's release. We got him dead to rights. My brother's innocent. I intend to prove it. Goodbye. So she gets waylaid by the banker, who says, I know your brother's innocent. Come with me and we'll prove it. Oh, okay. And meanwhile, somebody goes to the jail and says, hey, here's a gun. They're getting ready to give you a necktie party. And so you can get out, you can use this key and you can escape. So Billy starts out the back and wham, they knock him on the head. Then the banker takes Tony and they go out to, he explains his dastardly plot. He's put Eagle Pass, which is like a pass in the rock. He's put up some dynamite, and as soon as somebody hits that tripwire, all the rocks will fall down on him. And she said, that's cold-blooded murder. Exactly, Miss Barrett, your murder. You framed my brother. Oh, you're the Laredo. Ow, bright girl. So they've got her tied up in this desolate shack, and with her brother, and they're waiting for something, I don't know what. After he leaves, oh man, there's if I could only knock over that lamp. The flames would burn the place down fast, so we wouldn't have much time. Beggars can't be choosers, so she knocks over the lamp and burns off the flames. It burns off of the ropes. And Tony, she's something. She gets her brother out, and she heads for the Laredo Kid. And so, of course, he runs right into his own trap. Boom, he's dead. And the sheriff's like, well, we found his saddlebags and he had the stolen money, so now we know your brother is innocent. Do you want to be our deputy? No thanks, Sheriff. I came here to run a stage, and that's what I intend to do. The end. And there's Cornflakes ad, the new F-87 Super jet plane ring. Zoom. Wow, I'd like to have one of those. Avalanche. Oh no, good thing I have my flashlight with Rayolite batteries that saved the day. And then coincidentally, there's Minstrel Maverick, starring Harmony Hayes in Sing a Song of Six Guns. And this minstrel, drawn by the great Bernie Krigstein. This is an early work, about 4 or 5 years before his prime stuff at EC. So, Harmony Hayes, he's a wandering minstrel cowboy. Comes into town. And all of a sudden somebody comes along. Hey, everybody, the avalanche is coming to town. Quick, Sim, get my flashlight. No, here we gotta board up the shop. So Harmony's inside Pop's cafe having a glass of milk. And he said, oh, we gotta hide that. This once a month on payday, this guy comes into town and tears it up. And so we gotta look out. Here he comes, avalanche, and you can't stop avalanche. Whippy, give me room, because I'm making the plant minute 6 feet under. I'm a cross between a rattlesnake and a plane catastrophe of nature. Come on, come out, somebody, and fight. So Avalanche is tearing up the town, and Harmony is hiding with Pops. And so he says, man, he's going to cause some trouble. I better go talk to him. So he goes out, and Avalanche is in there shooting out bottles. And he says, hey, you should calm down. You're going to make people upset. And he shoots at him. You're going to dance. He goes, I'm no dancer. I'm a singer. So he starts to sing him a song. And Avalanche is like, well, it's not worth shooting you. I'm just going to lay you out with my gun. And Avalanche turns around and beats him up. So, and Harmony turns around and beats up Avalanche. So these bad guys, they see an opportunity and they plant a mask on them and they get the sheriff, and the sheriff puts them in jail. So once again, they're going to have a necktie party for him. And so Harmony Hayes goes to get the local gossip. He goes to the barber shop, and the barber shop tells him about the lynch party. Gosh, they're going to lynch him at 8 o'clock. So he goes and brings him a pie with something baked in it. Then a few minutes later, okay, we're here to let's say, prisoner is going to do a Texas cakewalk tonight. Huh, Fenton? This is illegal. You can't do it. So they said, oh, yeah, well, we'll assault the sheriff here. And Harmony says, well, you're going to have to go through me. And they said, well, he can't beat us all. And then, so Harmony starts beating them all up. And then they're like, oh, no, Avalanche has got a gun. He's shooting his way out. Shooting the lock off the door. And Avalanche comes out and gets him. And then, like, the head of the outlaws is getting ready to escape. And he's like, hey, you're here in jail. You might as well stay here. And so, Avalanche turns out to be a pretty good guy. And he's not going to shoot up the town anymore on payday. And Harmony Hayes heads off into the prairie with singing a song. Then there's Bazooka Bubblegum, the Atom Bubblegum. So there's a ship at sea, and his friend with the ham radio hears that it's sinking. So Joe blows a super bubble and goes out and tells them the ship's sinking, and tells one ship that the ship is sinking, and he goes, oh, well, we'll get it. And he said, oh, Joe, you and your super bubblegum saved the day. And then there's an ad for Mickey Mouse Watch. And then there's Western Facts by Martin Nadell. He's did a lot of features in DC Comics during the 40s and 50s and 60s. And there's an editorial advisory board. And there's a list of all the comics DC was publishing at the time. And it's funny, they used to sell Bendix brakes. You used to always advertise them in Archie Comics, but here's one in DC. And then there's this text feature, Horses of the Range. Another Martin Nadell piece. And the exciting boot the most exciting boot you ever saw, the Hood rocket boot, made especially for boys. And there's a side for U.S. Royal bike tires. And last we come to Foley of the Fighting Fifth. This is by Joe Kubert, inked by John Giunta, starring Lieutenant Dan Foley. So the fort is under siege, and they're expecting reinforcements. And then they look out, and it's like, holy smoke, there's somebody out there. So they open the door, and it's Lieutenant Foley reporting for duty. Some reinforcements, but then as he comes through the door, oh no, they let him through just so he'd open the gates. And so he gets in, and they send him, get up on top with Wingfoot, the scout. He'll tell you what to do. So they start fighting, and the Indians are led by their medicine man, and they attack they attack the fort and climb up, and so they fight them off, but it gets worse every time, says Wingfoot, the scout. It's pretty nice Kubert art. I guess he was like maybe, what, 16, 18 at the time? And so, like, the colonel's daughter says they're going to send him off with Wingfoot to find the medicine man. And his daughter's like, oh, he's too cute to go. You can't let him go. And he says, well, I'll be back. And the colonel's like, well, keep your mind on your business. So they go out, and they get ambushed, and they capture Foley, of course. And they take him, and it turns out, yeah, that medicine man, he's a white man, all right. He's a renegade. So the guy's like, well, I tricked, they're pretty stupid. I tricked them with a few tricks, and they think got big medicine. So they tie him to the stake, and they're going to burn him. And they're doing their burn him up dance. And Wingfoot sneaks up and cuts him loose and says, here, throw this pellet into the fire. And what? And he throws it in, and it's a smoke bomb. And all this smoke comes up all around there. And then Lieutenant Foley comes walking out of the smoke. And, of course, the Indians are impressed by that. But the medicine man says, oh, it's just a trick. He's like, yeah, my magic's stronger than yours. Let's fight it out. And medicine man, oh, you're just an insect to me. I wouldn't fight you. He says, oh, you're scared, huh? So the Indians are like, yeah, fight. So the medicine man throws a spear at him and breaks his knife. And he comes at him with a knife, and Foley throws him. And he comes back with the firebrand, and Foley beats him again. So they fight. And finally, Foley wins and says, hey, this guy's no good. And the lieutenant tries to get him from behind, and Foley finishes him for good this time. And so the Indians want to punish him, but they said, no, we've got to take him back to the Great White Father who will punish him. So they take him back to Fort Desolation. Oh, look, great guns, he's back. And he ends up with the girl, of course. The end. Yeah, that's really distinctly Joe Kubert artwork. It's funny how he established his style so early. Thrilled to the punch-packed action of Fighting West with Dale Evans and Western Comics. Two surefire winners from America's top comics publisher. Ask for them at your newsstand. It's Superman DC publication. Well, that's all for All American Western number 103. Kind of a cool book, huh?